All right, now let's take a look at a couple more examples. So now we want to simplify exponential expressions. All right, so the question asks, what is the simplified form of each of these expressions? So let's start with the first one right here. We have 5a to the third b to the negative second. So when we're looking at these, we want to take a look and see, are there any negative exponents or exponents of 0 that we can simplify? So we take a look. Our 5 doesn't have any, our a doesn't have any, so we can just leave them the same. So we can rewrite that as 5a to the third, but then you get to this b and you notice that has an exponent of negative 2. So then we have to remember, a variable raised to a negative exponent, we move that variable to the denominator of a fraction, and then we change the exponent to become positive. So this is equal to 5a to the third times 1 over b squared. And now from here we can go ahead and simplify, because if we multiply this 5a to the third times 1 over b squared, right, just like multiplying a whole number by a fraction, you multiply this by the numerator, and well, that just gives you 5a to the third over b squared. And now we simplified it. Now let's take a look at this second example. We have 1 over x to the negative fifth power. So for this, we're going to do the same thing. We take a look, we see that this x to the negative fifth power, we can rewrite that, right? So we also have to think, what does this fraction represent? We also have to remember that fractions represent division. So we can rewrite this as 1 divided by, and remember, x to the negative fifth power, we move that x to the denominator of a fraction. So that's 1 over x, and then we turn that exponent positive. So that means this is 1 divided by 1 over x to the fifth. And now from here, we have to go back and remember that keep, switch, flip rule that we've used when dividing by a fraction, right? So we keep that 1 stays the same. Then we have to switch that division to multiplication, and now we flip this fraction, so we take the reciprocal of it, and that reciprocal is just x to the fifth over 1. And then we can go ahead and multiply, right? So 1 times x to the fifth over 1, well, that's just equal to x to the fifth power. And that's our answer. We can't simplify it anymore. It's just x to the fifth power. Now let's take a look at this last example. We have 6x to the negative third, y to the 0. So again, we take a look. We see that that's 6. Well, there's no negative exponents, no exponent of 0, so we can just rewrite that as a 6. So this is equal to 6. And then we have x to the negative third power. So we want to rewrite that, right? So we move the base to the denominator of a fraction and make the exponent positive. So this is 6 times 1 over x to the third power. And then we have this y to the 0 power, right? And remember, anything to the 0 power except for 0 is going to equal 1. So even a variable, so that means y to the 0 power, we can simplify that to 1. So now we have 6 times 1 over x cubed times 1, and we can just multiply together, and that will give us 6 over x cubed. And there we go, we simplified. Now let's take a look at this one last example. And this is evaluating an exponential expression. So this asks, what is the value of 3s cubed times t to the negative second power, where s is equal to 2 and t is equal to 3? So with problems like this, before we even substitute in any of these values, we want to first simplify the expression that we're given, right? So we have 3s cubed t squared, right? Or t to the negative second power, I'm sorry. So this is 3s cubed t to the negative second. So first we want to simplify, look for any exponents of 0 or negative exponents, and we see that we have one with the t. That's t to the negative second. So we can rewrite this as 3s cubed times 1 over t squared. And now we just go ahead and multiply, and that gives us 3s cubed over t squared. And now that we simplified this, we got rid of our negative exponent, now we can substitute these values in. So we'll just substitute in 2 for an s and 3 for the t, and that will give us 3 times 2, not s, we got rid of that, it's 3 times 2 to the third power over 3 squared. And now we can go ahead and simplify. All right, so 2 to the third power, that's equal to 8. So this is now 3 times 8 over 3 squared, which is 9. And now we just have to multiply our numerator out. So 8 times 3 is 24. So that gives us that answer of 24 over 9. And then we can still simplify this, right? Both 24 and 9 are divisible by 3. So we do that, and that would give us a final answer of 8 over 3.